Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, English for IT Professionals. This lesson is about how to talk about monitoring cloud applications. This video is a special suggestion by my Udemy student, Nam Tran. I know the pronunciation of your name is not good. I hope you enjoy the lesson. Quick introduction, my name is Terry. I'm the English teacher from Ireland. I can speak Spanish, French, Portuguese, and Italian. I have almost 15 years professional English teaching experience now. I have courses about job interviews, grammar, English for software engineers, and you can find all of the links in my Linktree English for IT Pros. Buy a course, support the channel. So in this lesson, I want to start with a short list of vocabulary. And again, I think you probably know the vocabulary, but the pronunciation is the main thing. So let's look at metrics, logs, alerts, dashboard, service level objectives, SLOs. So again, metrics are numbers that measure app performance, like speed or errors. Metrics. Logs record what's happening in the app, like error details, so it's logs. Alerts message you that warn you if something's wrong, so like alert, not alert, but alert. Next one is dashboard. So it's dashboard. Now I know in the spelling of board, you can say B-O-A-R-D, but there's really no letter A sound. It's not board, it's dashboard. And service level objectives. SLOs, which are goals for app performance. And again, it's the pronunciation. Service level objectives. So let's look at 3 different phrase templates. And I think these are really cool, interesting phrases or structures that you can start to use for yourself to take just like code, you take a template and you start to create your own. To make sure we're aligned, you'd like me to track latency, error rate, and throughput on the dashboard, correct? Now with this phrase, we want to clarify monitoring goals. We do this when you're setting up a new dashboard and it confirms you're measuring the right things. So as we look at this phrase here, to make sure we're aligned. Now the pronunciation here is aligned. Aligned means we are all in the same line, literally like a line. Got there. We're thinking the same thing. Another expression is just to make sure we're on the same page. It's the idea that we all think and understand the same thing. To confirm we're aligned. And the final example, maybe the easiest, is just checking we agree on this. So there's 4 different ways to start this template. Now, if you look here, we have you like me. So you'd like me is you would like me. You apostrophe D is a contraction of you would. You'd like me, you want me, you like those metrics, or so I should. So it's another way of starting your phrase to confirm. So you'd like me, you want me to monitor, you'd like or you want. Now, one of the most common mistakes is translating this sentence directly. If you look at the first sentence, you'd like me to track latency. And if you look at the next one, you'd like I to track latency, you'd like that I track latency, you'd like that I to track. These are direct translations from your language into English. Then if we look at the next one here, you want me to monitor latency. That the next 3, you want I to, you want that I monitor. That phrase, you want that I, is very, very common if your first language is French, Spanish, Portuguese, or Italian, or Romanian, because that's the exact construction in your language. English has a little bit a different way of just when you're confirming with somebody, you want me to do this. You want me to monitor latency. Now, when we talk about dashboard, we have to use the word on. It's definitely the best. On is the idea of a surface, and especially a screen or a computer screen or monitor. This is the reason why you say on your phone, on your laptop, on Facebook, on Instagram, because we interact and see these things with screens and surfaces. It is possible to say in the dashboard, but this is more about code or configurations embedded inside the tool, where you're talking in the dashboard, as in like what programming or language or framework have you used to work this, and at the dashboard is just simply incorrect, okay? 3 critical verbs here: to monitor, so monitor, not monitor, but monitor, which is to watch metrics in real time. To track is to record and follow changes over time. And to measure, this is to quantify a value at a specific time. So as we look at the different things that you will track, monitor, or measure, we have latency, error rate, so it's error. Always the tongue is down and flat. Error. Throughput. Now again, I know you can see the GH in the writing. It's not the sound. The sound is throughput. CPU usage. So the U in usage is usage, not usage or usage, but usage. Memory consumption, and request rate. So throughput is the amount of data or work processed in a set time, like requests per second. And as we look at the pronunciation, okay, so we have the TH with the breathing out, where the tongue touches the teeth, just the tip here. Throughput. Now again, I know you can see the GH, it's not pronounced. It's not throg or throughput, but throughput. And notice the last PUT is put, not put, put. Throughput. So, some examples using this phrase template. Just to make sure we're on the same page, you want me to monitor latency, CPU usage, and memory consumption in real time, right? So, to confirm we're aligned, you'd like those metrics, latency, error rate, and request rate, tracked over time on the new dashboard. Just checking we agree on this. I should measure throughput and error rate at specific intervals and include them in the dashboard. Correct? Phrase template 2 is when you're describing a monitoring action. So I'm reviewing the error logs from the past hour to isolate the spike in 500 errors. So the situation is when you're describing a monitoring action, you are monitoring something and you need to describe it. It could be a stand-up meeting or a Slack update. And why it matters, it shows active investigation and helps keep your teammates informed, helps you tell your teammates what you're monitoring. Now, as we look at this here, we've got I'm reviewing the error logs, I'm checking the error logs, I'm going through the error logs. Again, the pronunciation is through. I'm looking at the logs for issues. Now, with these 4 verbs, we've got review, which is look carefully and seriously. To check is maybe to look quickly to find something specific, so check one thing. Go through is to read everything step by step. You hear this a lot when we talk about go through code. Go through code means you're going line by line by line by line, one by one, and checking, or you need to go through, right? Then look at is similar to check. It's just take a look or a casual look. And then with the time period here from the past hour, and with the time period here from the last hour. Now you can see here the last hour, but I think you can really use past and last, from the last hour, from the past hour, from the last 24 hours, from the past 24 hours. Or another word is since. Now the pronunciation is since. Since marks a time. So since yesterday afternoon, from this week's activity. To isolate this spike in 500 errors, to find the cause, so the pronunciation is cause, of the 500 error spike, to figure out what caused the 500 errors, to track down the sudden rise in 500 errors, okay? So 4 different verbs here that are interesting. To isolate is to separate the issue from everything else to focus on it. To find the cause is to identify the specific reason something happened. So you want to find the cause. Another common term here is root cause. Root cause talks about what is the problem, what is creating the problem. Root cause is like what is the central one thing creating the problem. And then to figure out what caused the error. To figure out is the idea of like to discover or to try to understand with time and effort. To understand how or why something happened, usually by reasoning. The idea of like figure out is almost the best example is like a mathematics problem where you need to stop, think, test, try again, and you figure out what caused the error. To track down, so we saw this verb before, to track, which is to measure or to watch. To track down is almost like the idea, like to find the part, to find the exact part, to search and locate the source of a problem, step by step. To track something down means to move slowly. And this here, to spike, so the pronunciation is spike. It is a verb, as in to spike. It's spiked. It's going to spike. It's also a noun, as in there is a spike. And a spike is a quick increase in numbers. With our friend here, ChatGPT creates our images. You can see like this is a quick spike. The very, very sharp, very quick increase in the error rate. Okay, some examples using this template before you write your version, okay? I'm checking the error logs from the past 24 hours to figure out what caused the spike in 500 errors. I'm going through the logs from this week's activity to track down the sudden rise in 500 errors. I'm looking at the logs from yesterday afternoon to find the cause of the 500 error spike. Phrase template 3, when you need to raise an issue and suggest a fix. Raise an issue is the idea like raise your hand, like there's a problem. Raise an issue says tell somebody there is a problem. Response time has been above our 300 milliseconds SLO for 10 minutes. I suggest scaling the web tier by 2 more instances. So when we look at this here, when you want to report an anomaly or a problem and suggest a response. When is when you see an alert, on the dashboard, and then it gives the issue a clear data-backed remedy, or is it you giving a clear solution with data. So let's look at here. Response time has been above our 300 milliseconds SLO. Latency has stayed over our 300 milliseconds target. We've been breaching the 300 milliseconds SLO. So you can see above and over, it's extremely similar in meaning. They're almost completely interchangeable in terms like it's above the 300 millisecond or it's over. It's almost the exact same thing. So you can talk about to be above or to be over, it's higher than a specific level. To be over means more than, is often interchangeable. And then to breach is to break, fail, meet a limit, or like you're going past the limit or agreement. Again, we have to be above or over, which means it is above or it is over at this specific moment in time. But then to stay over is the idea of like to remain consistently above or over a set value. I think it's stayed over as in it's continued. To be over means in this moment it is over. To stay over means it is continuing. For 10 minutes, for 2 hours, for the past or for the last 10 minutes. I suggest scaling the web tier by 2 more instances. I recommend scaling the web tier by 2 more instances, or let's scale out the web tier to handle the load. So again, I talked about this in a previous video about when you use the verb to suggest or recommend, you must use the verb and ing. I suggest scaling. Can't say I suggest scale or suggest to scale. I recommend scaling. Can't say I recommend scale or recommend to scale. It's verb ing. Recommend scaling. Now again, it's similar to a previous video where if you add the pronoun you or we, I suggest you scale the web tier. I suggest we scale the web tier. When you add the pronoun you or we or a different pronoun, now verb ing is not correct. So for example, I suggest you scale the web tier, and not I suggest you scaling. Same thing happens with recommend. I recommend you scale the web tier, or I recommend we scale the web tier. Scale is a verb. It's also a noun, but to scale something, normally you'll see this like to scale up. Because they talk about to change the size or capacity of a system to meet demand. If you have a small company that's a startup, it grows and grows and grows, then they start to scale up. That's usually what you see it. Scale up there is a little bit different to scale out. It's sometimes like scale vertically or scale horizontally. To scale out is more to scale horizontally. It's to add more servers or instances to handle more traffic. Some examples using this phrase template. Latency has stayed over our 300 millisecond target for the past 15 minutes. I recommend scaling out the web tier to handle the load. We've been breaching the 300 millisecond SLO for 10 minutes. Let's scale the web tier by 2 instances to bring it back under control. Response time has exceeded 300 milliseconds for over 2 hours. I suggest we scale out the web tier before this impacts more users. Thank you so much for watching. Namtran, I hope you liked this video. If you're still watching, please click like, subscribe, and recommend this channel to a friend who is an IT professional trying to improve. And you can find me and my courses on Udemy and udemy.com. I have an amazing course for job interviews, English for software engineers, grammar, and speaking secrets. So support me, buy a course, support my work. If you like the videos, click like, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.